Hi guys, welcome to this video. My name is Tyler, or welcome back if you've watched any of my YouTube videos before. And in this video, I'm going to be telling you basically whether you should commute to uni or whether you should live at uni. Obviously, before we get started, it's quite obvious, but it's different for every single person, so there's not a set answer. So it kind of just depends on what you really want after I give you all these advice and tips. But yeah, honestly, it's your own choice. I'm not going to force anyone into making any decisions. I'm not going to tell you what's better, what's not. It's just my own experiences, because I commuted for the first week, and well, actually no, it's the first 2 weeks. I commuted for the first 2 weeks, and now I've been living at uni for a week, and I basically have knowledge of both of them. Also, I cut my hands, well, finger, as you look, see. I cut my hands because when I moved into uni, obviously I bought loads of stuff, and I bought some plastic cups. Well, they're actually glass cups, but they're really cheap ones from Poundland, and they were like £2. And I cut my hand on it because I was washing it and it just suddenly smashed. So what I've basically done is I'm going to the pros of commuting and then the cons of commuting. So basically what I've done for the video is I'm doing the pros of commuting first, and then I'm going to do the cons of commuting. And obviously, yeah, I've got 6 pros and 6 cons, but we'll get into it right away. So the first pro is probably one of the most obvious pros to commuting, is that it's cheaper, a lot cheaper. If you live in somewhere like, for example, London, or you're going to a university in London, sorry, it's obviously quite expensive, the rent. Like, it's known for being really expensive. Or if you just go to a university, it's known for having expensive rent. Like, for example, I go to Exeter Uni and it's so expensive, the rent is really expensive. So yeah, first pro to commuting is you save a lot of money. Yeah, you're paying for travel, like petrol, or if you get train or bus, walking, whatever, you're paying for travel, but it's so much cheaper in the long run anyway than paying for rent. Now, the next pro to commuting is you get to live with family, obviously. And I know a lot of people, I'm not really, this can sound really bad now, I'm not a family person, as in I'm not going to be really upset about not seeing my family.
Whilst editing this, I realised how bad I sound, and I sound like I hate my family. Disclaimer, I do not, I promise.
It sounds bad I said that, but I'm just not that sort of person. But I know a lot of people that I know at university, a lot of people that I know just outside of university, like friends, they're proper family orientated. So if you are a family orientated person, then obviously commuting would be a great thing, because you get to see your family every single day. Now, similar to the whole family thing, is the next thing is you get to see your friends. That's a good thing. Like, you get to see your friends from home. Obviously you can make friends at uni, but you get to see your friends from home more often. Obviously, if you live at uni, you still get to see your friends from home, depending on how far away you live. Obviously, you still get to see them if you want to, like during the holidays, when you come back for Christmas or in the summer. So yeah, you just get to see your at-home friends a lot more often if you commute. Now, this is a huge thing that a lot of people love about staying at home, is that your parents basically help you do a lot of things, and you don't have to have that extra responsibility of like living away. So for example, my mum, when I'm at home, she basically does everything for me. I don't like her doing everything for me, if I'm honest, because I kind of like doing the whole washing up, I kind of like doing the whole cooking, but my mum just insists, so I let her. If you're living at home, you have a lot less responsibility, so yeah, so your parents kind of help you with all of that. Now, another pro to commuting is obviously you don't get homesick. Obviously, you won't get homesick. And I know a lot of people actually that I know struggle with homesickness a lot. Like, a lot of the people that I'm friends with at uni, they will often mention that they are homesick or they miss their family. And a lot of, like, I know one of my friends are actually this weekend, even though it's the middle of term, they're going down for the weekend to go see their family, because I think they miss them a lot, which is fair enough. It's fair enough, honestly. Homesickness is a big thing for a lot of people. Now, similar to the first pro that I went through, which was like, it's cheaper, another pro is that you actually get to save money because it's cheaper. Obviously, you're spending less money on rent, you get to save money, which I think is a really good thing, especially if maybe you have a partner or you have some friends that you want to move out with next year, or you want to move out by yourself. You get to save if you want to. Obviously, I chose to live at uni, so now I have to make that sacrifice of not being able to save as much money for next year. I'm still saving, it just takes a lot longer. So that was the pros of commuting. Now we're going to get onto the cons of commuting. Now, if you use public transport like a bus or the train, something like that, then your day is kind of determined by the travel times. For example, when I was commuting, the last train I could get of the day was at 11 p.m. so I could not stay out past 11 p.m. which is really frustrating because people obviously like to go out at uni and they like to go to pubs, and I wanted to join them and go to pubs and clubs. And during Freshers Week, I couldn't really do that at all. I went to a pub once and I was there for about 45 minutes and then had to leave to get the train, which is just, it's really, really frustrating. Obviously, it depends on the place. Some places, I'm sure the train maybe will go on a lot later, like maybe like London or something. But because I live in quite a rural area, the trains aren't very, very busy over here. So they're not gonna run them all throughout the night. Obviously, if you're driving, fair enough. It doesn't really matter, does it, at all? But yeah, public transport, which most people do, obviously, when they're commuting, most people do that. It kind of is really, really, really frustrating. That's something that I think was one of my biggest pet peeves about it, if I'm honest with you. My biggest pet peeves about commuting was the travelling. And a little side note to travelling, what I also hate is that obviously travelling adds time to your day. And sometimes I had lectures at 8:30 a.m. and I had to get up at about 5:50, 6 o'clock in the morning. It's really frustrating, I can't lie. So that's another thing I really think you need to consider if you're planning on commuting. Now, another thing, which is not a huge thing, because I'll explain why in a second, but it's basically feeling like you're missing out on making friends because everyone you know, or most people you know, are making friends from their accommodations. Now, this does seem like a big thing, but if I'm honest with you, it's not a big thing. When I was commuting, I realised that at first. I was like, oh no, everyone's making friends with people from their accommodation. Obviously, I'm not, because I don't have anyone from my accommodation. But if I'm honest with you, this is a big worry, but genuinely don't worry too much about this, because if you join societies or any like sort of club or any sort of like activity thing, you will make friends from university. Like, it doesn't make no difference, I promise you. Like, don't worry about stuff like that. Now, this next con to commuting is that traveling can be really expensive sometimes, and also really unpredictable. So obviously trains are they're extortionate, if I'm honest. The prices that they charge you to get a train is extortionate. I don't know how they justify it at all. Especially if you live in somewhere like London, the trains are going to be even more expensive. Yeah, you're saving money if you commute, but is it worth it? Like, for me, it was about 70 quid a week just to travel. It's a lot of money. I mean, obviously accommodation is not near 70 quid at all. It's not like it's going to be the same as accommodation, but it's still really expensive. Now, this one was a really big thing for me, which made me literally hate commuting, which was in between lectures, I found myself wandering around or not knowing what to do. Now, I've been lucky enough to meet some people that like me enough to let me in their accommodation, so I have been able to do that. So you can obviously go to friends' accommodations, especially if I'm on the same course as you. You can go to their accommodation until you have the next lecture, then you can go together. Find it not nice being in someone else's accommodation because you feel like you're not supposed to be there. I don't know, it feels like you want to be in your own area. You feel like you just feel in the way, like, especially because they're quite small rooms normally. I just always felt in the way, like, about going to other people's accommodation whilst I waited for my next lecture. I don't know, it's one of those things. It's like, yeah, you can, but what about, like, if you might not meet people that would want you coming in their accommodation. So it's just another thing, like, to think about. You might be wandering around for ages waiting for your next lecture. Now, this one kind of relates to the previous con, which was you don't get your own space. Now, this genuinely really frustrated me. Like, I never got my own space when I was commuting. You know, I never got my own space to actually relax. I never had my own room. So that's another thing. It's nice to have your own space to go to throughout the day instead of having to wander around the whole day at university. It's nice to finish a lecture and then go, oh, okay, I'm going back now, and I can revise in my bedroom. Sometimes you just want to relax, sometimes, but you can't, obviously, in the library. You can't really relax like you can if it was your own accommodation. Now, the last con to commuting is that you obviously don't get experience of like being responsible and looking after yourself fully. Obviously with accommodation, you're literally on your own. You're put in the deep end, you're on your own, you have to wash your own dishes, wash your own clothes, buy your own food. It's just a lot of things you do in university accommodation you're not used to doing, and it just builds up that skill set. I think it's really useful, if I'm honest with you. It's a really useful skill to get living at university and gaining those skills of how to actually just look after yourself. Anyway, that's the end of the video. I really do hope you found it useful. If you have any questions, please comment. Literally take this all with a pinch of salt. It could be a completely different situation for you. This is just my own experiences, but yeah, I hope you found this really useful, and I'll see you next video. Bye bye.